All right, what is going on, everybody? It's Kate Johnson and CJ Trivisonno, and today we are doing our Realtors Winning live stream a little bit different. Kate and I thought it would be a good idea to, instead of having a guest today, to jump on and talk about the foundation of our real estate business. One thing I've noticed, and I was talking with my team about this yesterday. Kate, you and I talk about this all the time. Is most agents they want to go look at the shiny objects, right? Like we call them squirrels, right? We're just literally chasing the shiny objects around all day long. And so a big mistake that I see most real estate agents make is that they go jump right to those shiny objects before they build the foundation of their business. And so what happens is they look up 3, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years in the business and they go, oh no, I don't really have my foundation. I don't really have my database really built out. And all they do is they spend their entire career go chasing these shiny objects. And so we thought it'd be a good idea today to dive into these, into building a foundation of your business. And why, Kate? Why else, Kate? Why else would an agent want to build a good, solid foundation in their database instead of going to find those shiny objects?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is getting back to the basics or starting with the basics is so important during a shifting market, because it's literally the first and foremost thing that you should do ever in real estate, not when it's a shifting market or when it's a shifting market, when you have to pivot, when you don't have to pivot. I think if you don't have a solid foundation, you're going to look for the next best thing, or you're going to look for the squirrels or the shiny objects because it's going to seem easier. But if you start with the basics and you start with an awesome database or a foundation, everything else gets easier, right? I think one really cool point too is when, COVID first started, and we looked to realtors across the nation, seeing what they were doing. I think the first thing most people did was look to cut expenses, right? And when they're cutting expenses, sometimes those are the shiny objects that we find and we really like. And then they noticed, oh my gosh, like I've been neglecting my database and like the one thing that's going to keep me afloat during this market. And it was kind of like a backtrack moment. For a lot of agents. And for me, I definitely felt that. And so one of the things I first did during the pivot or during the shift is look to my database. So I noticed I had some serious bullets in mine. And I know a lot of agents did too. So CJ, what would you say like the biggest mistakes people make in their database are?
Yeah. So I love that question. And to me, it's I almost want to go into the four, almost like what are the four basics that people need to do as far as what you should be doing in this industry to have a long, successful business. And I think, to be honest, their biggest mistake is not doing these four things, right? So if I'm giving advice to an agent, again, new agent, seasoned agent, it doesn't matter. I see a lot of people skip this. So the four basic things to me in our business is number one, it's you have to go out and you have to talk to people. And so you have to go find people to put in your database, right? So you can't build a big database if you don't have anybody to talk to, right? And so sometimes I think building a big database could be scary to people, but that's actually how you succeed in your business. Kate, do you know what and we did not cover this. Do you know this is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent quiz? Do you know what the ratio is between how many people you have in your database versus how many sales you should expect from that per year?
No, CJ, why don't you tell us?
So it's a good question. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is literally sitting right here on my desk. First of all, if you don't have that, go buy a copy of this, or reach out to me or Kate, and we can give you one, because this book has literally turned into my Bible. I can recite so many pieces of this book and so many graphs from it because I've literally read it like over a dozen times, and I've probably gone back to use it as research 30 times, probably more than that. So the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book says that, and I'm going to give you the simple way to do it. They say the ratio is 12-2, but that's complicated. I'm going to simplify this. So basically they say, and someone said 12-2, I can't see who that is, but basically what it is, they say for every 6 people you have in your database, you should get 1 sale per year. Okay, so you can do the math on that. So here, let's do a math quiz, Kate.
No,
so if the ratio is for every 6 people, you should get 1 sale. How many people do I need in my database to make 100 sales?
Oh my gosh, that sounds like 600, right?
Yeah.
1,200? Okay.
Yeah. So 600 people, right? So 600 people. And so you could do the same math. You could go, I'm gonna make this extra complicated right now. So Kate, so I want to make $100,000 in real estate.
Perfect.
Okay. How many people do I need to have in my database?
Well, sounds like
There's a lot of exploring to do. And let's say my average commission is $5,000.
perfect. You tell me, CJ, how many people do you need in your database?
So let's do the math on that. So I want to make $100,000, and what we want to find out is how many people do we need to have in our database, because we're talking about our number one thing that you need to do to build your business, which is go talk to people and add them to your database. So, okay, so if I want to make $100,000, and my average commission is $5,000. Let's do the math on that because I'm terrible at math. So that means I need 20 sales to have a gross commission income of $100,000. And so at 20 sales, and so I need it's 6 people in there for one sale. So I'm going to multiply that 20 by 6. So I need 120 people in my database to make $100,000. Does that make sense how I just explained that? So really, and you could do the same math for how do I make $1 million, right? And it's very basic. It's very simple to break this down. So all you need to do is figure out how much you want to make, figure out what your average commission is, and then basically multiply that by 6. And that tells you how many people you have to have in your database. And so really the game of real estate becomes who's talking to the most people. That's really all it is. And you could call that whatever you want. You could call that, I like to simplify it and say, just go talk to people. And then you could say that's lead generation. You could say that's prospecting. You could put whatever word on it. You could call it networking. You could call that social media messaging, whatever it is that you do for that specific thing. It all comes down to talking to people. So number one to building your business is talking to as many people as you can. Does that make sense, Kate?
Yeah, I remember like the first month I got my real estate license, someone said to me, it's not like a real estate business, it's a relationship based business. And that definitely stuck out to me so quickly. You're going to get to this in one of the next questions we talk about, but one really good way someone told me to just build that list of 120 to 150 people right away is sit down and think about who you would invite to your wedding. So just build your wedding guest list, or if you're not planning on ever getting married, go through your Facebook friends list and pick your friends or pick someone who you'd invite to something super special to you. And it's way easier than you think.
Yeah, 100%. And by the way, that's what I did when I first started. Is I happened to be getting married right about the time I was starting real estate, and so I used my wedding list as sort of the foundation of my database. Okay, so number one is you go talk to people, and number two, to build your real estate business is you have to actually add those people to your database, right? So I was at a wedding over the weekend, and I talked to 100 people, and that's really cool. But if I didn't add any of those people to my database, are the odds far less likely for them to do business with me?
Well, for sure. I think it's like meeting someone and saying hello and putting 2 and 2 together is one thing, but adding someone to your database and then getting a constant drip or hearing from you once a month or even once a quarter. And it can be personal, by the way. It doesn't have to be this professional looking email campaign that you send out, but hearing from you on a regular basis definitely makes a difference.
For sure. And so you're getting ahead of me a little bit. That's sort of on to the next one. So,
Right.
So a big one that a lot of agents, they do honestly skip is maybe they're naturally chatty people and they love to talk to people. And most of us real estate agents are. We like people, we like to talk, we like to be social. But what I see is a big disconnect is they go, cool, I like to talk to people, but they forget to do number 2. And that's, in my opinion, one of the biggest things that agents don't do is they talk to them and they don't put them in their database. And so maybe they'll put them on a little sticky note somewhere, then they just go away and they disappear. They throw it away, or their cleaning lady comes and cleans their desk and you lose it forever. So you need to basically talk to people and feed your database, right? So every single day, your job, that's essentially what our job is in real estate, is to feed your database every day. So talk to them and then add them to your database, because if you don't, you're far more likely to lose that person. And when you add them in, you're far more likely to be able to build that relationship through, which is number 3, which is what you were just talking about, is to actually communicate with them once they're in your database. And so I would talk to people, I add in my database, then I communicate with them regularly. So what does that look like, Kate? So what does communicate with people in our database mean?
Yeah, so it can mean a couple different things. So in my world or in my life, I like to think about hitting someone with like a 36 touch. So what that means to me is talking to them or communicating with them, sending them something, liking their Facebook posts or something of that nature 36 times a year. To me, that sounds super, super daunting when you think about a list of 2,000 or 3,000 people. But when you do break it down to that 150 people or your 150 core sphere people, it's super, super doable, and you're probably already doing it. You just need to do it a little bit more intentionally.
And so what's a 36 touch? So what does that mean? I know a lot of people, there might be some Keller Williams people in here, but and some people that it's actually not a Keller Williams thing. It's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent thing. What is a 36 touch, or previously was referred to as the 33 touch? What does that mean?
Yeah, so that means you should be touching your sphere 33 times a year, or 36 times a year. So a lot of agents do that as like an email once a month. It'll be like a newsletter style email. What's up with the market? What's up with me? Who can I help? Who can I buy or sell? A referral program, et cetera, et cetera. And then it looks like a phone call once a quarter. It looks like a direct mailer sometimes. It looks like a text message. It looks like an invitation to a client party. It looks like a birthday card on their birthday, a home anniversary card. All of the things. You can get as creative as you want with the 36 touch, or you can get as basic as just sending emails twice a month. Anything that fits your brand. I think it's super important to keep it personal and to your brand, or it's going to seem like less authentic and kind of just salesy and cheesy.
Yeah, so you're 100% right. So you're spot on. So essentially the 36 touch, and remember at the beginning we said for every 6 people you should get 1 sale in your database. So essentially what it is, it's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent tells us, the book tells us that to get that ratio of 6 to 1, we need to touch our people 36 times per year. Okay, right? So it has to be consistent. We have to do it consistently and throughout the entire year. And the longer you do it over time, the more likely you are to get those referrals. And so Kate just rambled off a bunch of really good ideas. And so if you're doing this, there's a lot of basic CRMs. We happen to be with Keller Williams, so we have Command. It's a little easier for us to do. But basically, you want to find a database somewhere that can hold these people, and then ideally have a program that you can automatically do some of these. And so it's on autopilot. So it's kind of a set it and forget it. And I will say, to get that ratio of 6 to 1, 4 of those touches that Kate just talked about need to be some sort of really direct contact with those people that are in their book. And so whether it be like a client party or a phone call or a text message or something like that. And now we're even seeing Facebook messages really climb up the ladder on what works on there. So Kate, how would so that's a lot of stuff you just rambled off. How do I put that together? Like what's a way I can put a plan together for the year?
Great question. So number one is probably take a business planning class. So you should know your numbers and know your goals before you set your plan together, because your plan is going to be pretty determined on what you want to do throughout the year. So if it's your goal to make $100,000 and you want to have 120 people in your database and touch those people regularly, you need to know that before you set your marketing plan for the year. And then what I would recommend, what we did on our team and what I know you do as your team, CJ, sit down in the month of November and December and literally build out what that plan will look like month by month. So then when the first comes around and you're selling 10 houses a month and you don't really have time to think about marketing, you already have all of your ideas and your things set for your client touches, which is super, super important, not just for realtors, but for anybody in the real estate world. If that looks like your admin's doing that for you, or a buyer's agent or a listing agent, anyone really should have a 36 touch plan in place before the start of the year.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're a solo agent on your own, you should be. This is everybody. This is not just team. Like this is when I was just a solo agent on my own. It was even more. It was detrimental for me to have this, because I wouldn't be where I'm at today if I wouldn't have started this 10 years ago.
And by the way, it's like, I loved what you said. This is not like a KW thing. This is a MREA thing. So I know agents that just build this out in literally a Google Doc, and they'll say, okay, in the month of January, I'm going to send out a calendar at the beginning of the year with all of the national holidays. And then halfway through the month, I'm going to send a market update for the month of January and a recap of 2020. In February, I'm going to send out something for Valentine's Day. And then I'm going to talk about the upcoming spring market and maybe hold a house buying seminar or something like that. And then in March, when it comes around, we're going to talk about how to end the quarter and how to use your tax refund to buy a house, et cetera, et cetera. Thinking about that in November or December is super, super easy in comparison to saying like it's March 12th and I haven't talked to anybody yet this month except for my current clients.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So we're building the foundation of our business. Number one is go talk to people, also known as lead generation. Number two is once you talk to them, you want to add them to your database. Number three is once they're in your database, you want to communicate with them. And now number four is once you communicate with them, you need to service them. So number four is service them. So service the requests, service the questions that you're going to get, because once you're engaging these people so much, they're going to ask you to do things. They're going to ask you about houses. They're going to ask you to do CMAs. They're going to ask you to do blah, 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 like a million things, right? And so you want to, and if you tell them you're going to do something, you need to do it. So number four is service them. So when they ask you something, make sure you do it. If you have someone in your database who's been in there for 5 years and they ask you a question about, they want to get a price on a property that they're buying from their family or something, you need to do it. You need to help them do it. You might not get paid, but you're going to do it because you're going to have that client forever. And yeah, maybe they're buying their family's house. I mean, this is a real life example that's happened to me. You know, you need to help them, because once you do that, they're going to give you so many referrals down the road for helping them. And you might go, oh, I'm not getting paid. I'm losing money doing this, whatever you say. I promise you in the long run, if they ask that request, it's because they're thinking of you as the real estate professional, and that's what you want. That's a good thing. And then maybe they go to work that day and go, wow, my real estate agent just gave me a good price. Oh, I need to buy a house. Oh, contact Kate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think if you've been in the industry for a year or more, you've probably encountered the situation where someone needs you to work for free, quote unquote. It's happened to me a million times. I'm sure it's happened to you, CJ. I think one thing I also heard that's just stuck with me forever is kind of stop looking at yourself as a realtor and start looking at yourself as like a problem solver. Like that's what you do for a living. Like you help people solve their real estate problems and you're a connector. So if someone's calling you and looking for a contractor because they know you work with houses, give them a contractor, give them a list of 5 and say, I've personally called 3 of these and worked with them and they're great. Someone's going to call you and say like, I'm thinking about buying land. What does that look like? They probably haven't looked into anything at all. Send them like a nice packet and say like, this is what a new construction packet will look like from a real estate expert. And this is what you can expect if you work with me down the line. And this is what I would start doing. Definitely looking at yourself as like a connector, a problem solver, anything of the above. It's a lot easier to kind of get in the mindset of helping or working for free. Because you're right, the referrals or the stories that'll come down the line, or even their business down the line is so totally worth it. I
agree. Yeah. So to wrap this up a little bit, so before you go on and chase those shiny objects, I'm guilty of it. I've done in the past. Every single realtor has done in the past. You need to earn the right to go do that. You need to build this foundation of your business first before you go chase other things. Like if you don't have this and you sell 10 houses this year and you're not adding all of those sales, those people into this database, you have a cup full of water and water is just pouring out of your cup, right?
I love the triangle analogy, CJ. Why don't you talk about that a little bit? I think it's really easy to understand when you think of your business as a triangle.
Yeah. So are you talking about leads, listings, leverage?
Yeah. Well, honestly, you could talk about it as just the foundation of your business being a database. But yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do a whole nother call for that one, Kate, next time. But basically, the foundation of our business is it's leads. Then we want to focus on listings, and then once we master the leads and the listings, then that's the point in time where we can worry about hiring an administrative person, having a VA, someone to help us as far as leverage goes to help us sell more houses. So this number one being figuring out your database, and again, just to go through these 4 that we went through as far as building a foundation. Talk to as many people as you can. Once you talk to them, add them to your database. Once they're in your database, communicate with them. And then number 4 is service them. Once they're in there communicating with them, they're asking you to do things, right? So in my opinion, that's going to help you build that foundation. Like 98% of realtors, their number one source of business is their sphere of influence, the people in their life, basically business that comes from their database. And so if you skip that step, you're going to lose out on a lot of money as time goes on in this business. So again, don't go chase those shiny objects. Build this foundation first. And even when you get a point in time where you go, I've exhausted my database, think about all the people that know people that know people that know people, right? So when you think you have, it's almost like you ever seen that meme where the guy's digging for gold and he stops and the gold's like right on the other side of where he's digging. Then the other one, it's like that little extra effort. It's continually to do this over year, especially in a market like this.
So true. Love that.
Yeah. So that's that. If anybody has any more questions or wants to dive in deeper, Kait, I'm sure you're happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to answer any questions. If you don't have the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, go get it. I don't get paid for saying that. I do believe in this, and this book has literally changed my life. And so for me, giving back to you guys what it's done for me, it's very, very powerful. Any final thoughts, Kait?
No, I think during this market, especially, it's just so important to get back to the basics. And I think this is number one. So this is a great call. I love this.
Good. Very good. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. If you need anything, get a hold of Kait and myself, and we will see you next Wednesday at 10:30.
Perfect. Bye.
Bye-bye.